Hey, welcome back. This is my 2003 Honda Element. As you can see, the headlight is really bad shape there, frosting over. This one here, not as bad. I'm going to let it go, but what I'm going to try and do is replace or do a repair on this headlight with this 3M restoration headlight kit. Now this comes with a money back lifetime warranty, good for as long as you own the car. Anyway, we shall see. So I'm going to follow these instructions just as best I can, and I went to their website, and you can fill out a piece of paper and they will either give you your money back or a new kit. So what I'm going to do first, come on bottle, is go ahead and tape around this with some painter's tape. Comes off real easy. And then I'm going to go ahead and follow the instructions. So let me get that done, and then I'll read the instructions as soon as I get this taping done. Okay, I've got the taping done. I wanted you to see, now that the wind has really come up good, is that the kit completely contains everything you need to do the headlight, or actually both headlights, including a rubber glove. Yes, I guess you only need one hand. Rubber glove, towels, cloths, sandpaper, you name it, activator. Anyway, it's all in here, and if the wind wasn't blowing, I would lay it out. But for right now, I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to see what the instructions have to say, and I'm going to put on my glove. Okay, the instructions say to clean the headlight first, and I've got some Windex to do it with here. Make sure that the headlight is thoroughly cleaned. So that's what I'm going to do. Next in the steps, it says to apply a surface activator which removes the yellow staining and softens the remaining original UV clear coat that may still be on the headlight. Spray the activator generously onto each headlight lens until they are completely covered. Let this liquid sit on each lens for about 30 seconds. Wash completely with water to remove loosened corrosion. Well, I have my water bottle. Spray generously onto each headlight. Now, I'm only going to do one headlight, so I'm going to save some of this, obviously. Don't get any more generous than that. Okay, well, the wind's come up so bad that it's ruining the regular audio portion of the program, so I'll narrate the rest of it. Anyway, there's 30 seconds have elapsed, and so I'm spraying off the surface activator and cleaning it all up. And after this step, I'll go into the step where I start wet sanding with the 400 grit sandpaper. Now there's three steps on this. You sand with the 400 grit sandpaper for 5 minutes, then you sand with the 1000 grit wet sandpaper for 5 minutes, and then the 2000 grit wet sandpaper for 5 minutes. So that's what I'll be doing here next. Okay, these are the 3 different sheets of sandpaper, the 400, the 1000, and the 2000 grit. They're all wet sandpapers, and you just fold them in half, and you'd use one half side for one headlight and the other half for the other headlight. And on the 400 grit sandpaper, you would need to sand the lens until it is actually smooth, using water, of course. It's a wet sanding. And when you can check it from time to time with your other hand, run your hand over it, clean it off, and then if you feel any grit still there, any ridges and stuff, then you keep sanding. In other words, the 400 grit sandpaper is used until you're satisfied that you have smoothed that lens out to an even feel all the way across. There's no ridges or anything. Now, after you're through sanding with the 400 grit paper and you're satisfied that your lens is smooth all the way across, then you would switch over to your 1000 grit sandpaper, and you would sand the lens again just like you did with the 400 grit sandpaper, only this time they recommend doing a 5-minute sanding with the 1000 grit. And I used my cell phone to time that. And then after I was through sanding with the 1000 grit sandpaper, then I timed myself with my phone again with the 2000 grit sandpaper until I was satisfied that I had done all the sanding I wanted to do and I couldn't do anything more. In between each sanding, you'll rinse the headlight off, and it'll dry, and actually with the wind it dried very fast for me, to a hazy appearance like this. Here you can see that I've switched over now to the 2000 grit sandpaper, the last wet sanding that I have to do. I timed this for 5 minutes, and as you sand, you can see the residue that the paper is picking up from the headlight. It's cleaning and removing a thin film of, I guess, plastic, whatever the headlight is made out of. So it doesn't look like you're doing anything, but you are, and that becomes evident a little bit later. You can see the way this headlight, just as it dries, it hazes over. When it's wet, it looks clear, but when it dries, you can see the haze that you've created with the sandpaper and all. Okay, I'm cleaning it again with water and getting ready for the next step. The instructions that this kit comes with are really easy to follow and easy to read. This next step is actually still step 2, which is called sand and polish, but there's a little packet in here called a clarifying compound. Now, to me, it looks like a small packet of some very nice rubbing compound, and what you'll do is you apply a quarter-sized dollop to one of the white towels that they give you in the kit. Now you're actually using a towel kit instead of your paper towels, and you rub it into the headlight, and like you would a normal rubbing compound on a car, polishing compound, and you do this for another 5 minutes, and it'll make a light white haze to the lens while you're doing this. So that's a normal process. Again, you want to make sure that you're using water. You're still wet sanding even though you're using the rubbing compound. I found that my white little towel here kind of absorbed the compound, and for a while there it didn't feel like I was doing much of anything, but I could still see a little bit of work being accomplished here, so I kept going with the towel that was turned from white to more of a beige color with the compound in it. Again, I had timed this for 5 minutes, and when my phone went off, I quit and went on to the next step. Okay, after this clarifying or rubbing compound was done, the instructions say to thoroughly clean the headlight. You want to get everything off of this headlight now and just thoroughly clean it. Also, you'll want to make sure that this headlight is dry, because after you get this step done, you will be reapplying the surface activator, and you don't want any water mixed in with it. So make sure this headlight is dried off real well before you proceed to the surface activator. Okay, here I'm going to take the surface activator, and it's just a little over half a bottle left. Like I said, this kit is designed to do 2 headlights. So doing the one, I can just about measure my progress by looking at the side of the bottle and seeing where I am with this stuff. Anyway, you spray the surface activator on, and you let it sit for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, you thoroughly rinse it with water. You can see my bottle's half full. And after 30 seconds, like I say, you can rinse it really well with water and dry it off real well. And then you'll want to remove the tape that is around the headlight. I'm making sure I get it really clean, and then I'll go ahead and remove the tape here. That tape got pretty wet while I was doing this. I'm surprised it even stayed on, but it's the qualities of that painter's tape. It does its job. Okay, spray it again and wipe it off, because you want to get it you want to make sure you got this thing clean. And also, not only you want it clean, you want all the residue off and around, you want it dry. You really want this dry, and the wind, as bad as it is today, it really helped dry this headlight. And this last step, you really want a dry headlight. I can't repeat that enough. Okay, this last step, the final step, you have a blue towel that comes with the kit, and you'll be putting a UV block clear coat that comes in the bottle, and you soak the top of the towel and you keep it soaked. It said the more that you put on, the better it is. So I did a couple soakings on the towel, and then got it pretty wet, so I just kept going with it. It also says not to go back over your work, because because I did a little bit, and it kind of leaves a smudge. But keep that towel soaked, and if you do it right, you still have about half a bottle left. And you go from one side to the other side, wiping this on, one stroke at a time. See, there's where I went back right there, and I shouldn't have done that. So if you follow the directions like you're supposed to, you'll end up with a headlight that looks just like new, in my opinion. I'm really pleased with the way this came out. This repair dries to the touch in about 1 hour, and it takes about 4 to 6 hours for a full cure. I'm showing a picture of the box that the kit came in, and I'll put a link on where I got this at the bottom of the description on the YouTube channel. So until the next video, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I will turn the rest of the video over to the wind to end this. Thanks again. This is Steve AZ711 saying bye for now.